This show is for everyone working at the coalface. Digital, business, marketing, social. This is At the Coalface with your host, Jason Greenwood. Well, to quote Matthew McConaughey, all right. So end of my first day with Health Post New Zealand, and just want to do a bit of a recap. Still deciding exactly what form these videos are going to start taking. It's going to obviously be an evolving thing based on audience feedback, based on what people would like to see, based on what people are interested in, based on what you guys want to know. Maybe even take a bit of a question and answer format for some of these. Probably some of you are wondering why I'm recording in the car. I do a lot of thinking in the car. I can have this turned on, I can focus on traffic, no worries, and I can just record away. So it's it's an easy way for me to sort of wind down at the end of the day or kick off the beginning of a day. So try to kill multiple birds with one stone, be as efficient as I can with my time, and hopefully create some content of value. That's ultimately what this is all about. It's about me creating something that will hopefully bring value to you in the digital space or the business space or anything really that I think I can speak to based on experience, based on knowledge, based on some skills that I have, based on the best part of me. And hopefully this will bring value to the audience as well. So obviously I'm going to be trying out different mediums, different platforms. I'm going to probably be trying a bit of Periscope here and there. I'm going to be trying to pull out some little snippets and push them out to Twitter and to Instagram and a couple of the other platforms. So, but the mainstay will probably be two things. It'll be YouTube, obviously. It's a given. Second biggest search engine in the world after Google. And then obviously Facebook video as well is going to be probably quite key with the metrics on Facebook that you can have access to in terms of pushing out content to a specific target audience, the granularity that you can do on Facebook through dark posts and other marketing mechanisms within Facebook in terms of defining your audience for your content. Facebook is difficult to beat, so that'll probably be one of the other places that I start pushing out content to. So anyways, first day. There was a lot going on. My login to my computer, for some reason, on the network, the office network, didn't work until about 3:30 p.m. today, so I wasn't actually able to log into my computer. So it was a lot of getting familiar with the people in the office, getting familiar with the processes and systems at the main Auckland office. Health Post have dispatch and customer service and operations based in Collingwood, just outside of Nelson in the South Island, and their main, administration and management office is up here in Auckland, and a small retail store. So it's got two bases of operations really here and in Collingwood in the South Island. And so currently dispatches for Australia are all coming out of the Auckland office, the Auckland showroom, if you will, the Auckland shop. And therefore the range of products that we're able to sell as a business into Australia is limited, because we don't carry the full range up here in Auckland. The full range is based in the main warehouse down in Collingwood. So I'll be going down to Collingwood probably at the end of the month to see how all of the operations, fulfillment, logistics, customer service, and basically making the customer happy, delighting the customers, how we do that from an operational perspective day to day. So that's very interesting. Met some of the key staff in the business and how they do what they do, and sort of seeing where I think I can add the most value to the business, both from a technical perspective, currently going through a range of work at the moment within the business, some big projects happening right now. From a digital perspective, currently moving from two different instances of Magento for New Zealand and Australia onto one, so effectively merging them onto one a platform, one instance, one installation of Magento for efficiencies of scale and other reasons as well. Non-duplication of the catalog across both sites and easier maintenance. Less complex hosting and infrastructure requirements instead of having two separate instances and two separate admin logins to the two different regional websites. And obviously for growing regionally around the world, it makes more sense to be running off of one admin if you can. So looking at some of those things today, looking at that project, it's right at the tail end of that merging project. So there's a lot happening because there's a lot to consider. When you have a global business and you've been growing rapidly, you have customers that maybe, and because there's a lot of migration that happens between Australia and New Zealand, there's a lot of use cases where people have moved from New Zealand to Australia or vice versa, have created an account in one site, haven't created an account in another side, and when you merge them together and effectively take two customer databases and two sets of order history and merge them into one, what does that look like? And are they using different SKUs in their order history? And how do you fix that? How do you standardize their default delivery address? And if they've got multiple delivery addresses and multiple address books, how do you deal with that from two different sites when you're harmonizing two into one? The product catalog, how does that look being merged together and making sure that the right products are showing in the right region at the right time, running the right promotions, etc., etc. How do you make sure that you're billing correctly for freight when you're merging the two sites together onto one database from two? So there's many considerations to think about. And then you've got the ancillary services, so site search and all of the other services that make for a rich, holistic shopping experience on the website. There's a whole lot of functionality that's provided by third parties that needs to be considered. Magento extensions that need to make sure that they work across multi-site, because some extensions for Magento only work on one site. Their license or their structure, the way the extension is structured, sometimes can only work on one site. So what do you do in those cases where you need that piece of functionality to run across two sites on a single install of Magento? So all of these things have to be considered. Most of them have been considered already because the project has been well underway before I came to the business, but just adding my 2 cents worth to these discussions with our development team and our project management team and the interior staff that are taking care of their respective parts of this migration and merging project. It's a lot to consider, it's a lot to discuss, it's a lot to not miss. So trying to add value where I can, and really just trying to get up to speed with who fits in where and where I think, as I said, where I think I can add the most value to the business. So been a really interesting, been a really exciting day. Had a meeting with a third party that can help penetrate the Chinese market in new ways, and looking at ways in which we can possibly work with them. That was a fantastic meeting. May not end up working with them, but then we may. So looking at that opportunity and seeing what that presents to the business, just really taking everything holistically and seeing over the next 12 months how that digital strategy needs to play out from a multi-region perspective, and what needs to be in place from a technical and marketing and human resource perspective and fulfillment perspective. All of those things have to be considered as you're looking to go into new markets and new channels and new touch points. So then how do you maintain that super high level of customer service that you want to have in local time zones and as much as you can, and how can you provide live chat services, and how can you provide all these other services from either outsourced staff or internal staff that you then have to think about, okay, if we go into these new markets and we don't outsource customer service to a local entity, a local service provider who can provide service in local time zones, do we either have local customer service staff working around the clock, and then do you have to go to 24-hour shifts? And if so, what about language differences in those different markets, those different destination markets? Different languages, different concepts, different questions that you may not get from your local or native area that you're working from or started in. And then if you outsource, and so you can have someone who speaks the local language and can work in the local time zone very easily, how do you make them an extension of your own business such that they know your products as well as your current customer service staff do? How do you upskill them when you got a very large product catalog of potentially thousands of products? How do you get them up to speed where they can provide real-time value, service, answer questions, make recommendations of products, those types of things? So these are all things that have to be considered when you're trying to run effectively a multinational, multi-currency, multi-shipping e-commerce, digital commerce operation, and become really a global player in global markets. So all of these things have to be thought about. All of these things have to be catered for, and there's no easy answers to any of them. There's pros and cons to every approach that you take. So it's about weighing up the pros and cons, and you may start out, for in the case of customer service, you may start out working in your local hours and providing customer service during your local hours in your home country, your base country, when you first launch into a new market. You may do that initially, and then as the market grows and as it proves itself and as it warrants establishing either a base of operations, a native base of operations in that country with local customer service that you own effectively in-house, or outsourcing that to a local partner who then you upskill and you train and you onboard into your organization to where they are truly an extension of your organization. These are the types of things that as you go through growth phases as a business, especially as you grow internationally, these are all the things that you need to start considering. So that's really, hopefully, I know it's maybe a bit of rambling, but we covered a lot of ground in regards to I guess my first day and some of the things that I'm considering and keeping in mind as I get embedded into the business better, as I onboard better into the business, as I start feeling out alongside my colleagues where I fit in the best and where they think I can help them the most in their role. And I think really that's one of the key things is empathy. You need to have empathy for the people that you work with, because it's going to benefit you too. By having empathy, you can understand what your colleagues need, and therefore that by the law of reciprocation, they typically are going to want to reciprocate and make your life a lot easier too, and see where they can help you perform your role and your job better. So everybody gets better together. A rising tide floats all boats, and that's the idea. So anyways, that's the end of my first day. The intent really is at this stage to try to maybe do a video morning and evening. May end up only being once per day. We'll just see how this all plays out. But looking forward to talking with you out there in the digital space. Looking forward to talking to you out there who are in digital business, are in really growth hacking of any variety, are either working on the merchant side. You're either an employee, or you're an owner of a digital business, either a pure play or an omni-channel business. Which, let's face it, all customers are digital nowadays. You don't ever have just a physical customer, for example. They all want to interact with your business and across all of your digital touch points, or some of them at the very least. And then if you're an omni-channel business and you got physical retail stores and distribution partners and maybe B2B and B2C combined, that changes the dynamic of the customer interaction that you will have and what channels you use to do that interaction. And so those are the really interesting parts, and that's the kind of audience that I'm looking to connect with, and looking to see what your thoughts are on this process that I'm going through personally, but more importantly as I'm trying to connect and bring value to the like-minded people that are interested in similar things to me. We can form a little bit of a community around this content and hopefully get better together. So look forward to comments, questions, subscribe, share, all the things you know what to do. So go ahead and do it. Thanks a lot.